They told you your thoughts can't change, that your patterns are fixed, that your past defines your future. But what if everything you've ever believed about change was only half the story? There's a verse, just one, that holds a secret most people skip right over. Not because it's hidden, but because it's too powerful to take lightly. Romans 12:2 isn't just a nice memory verse, it's a roadmap, a warning, a breakthrough. It's the turning point between who you were and who you're called to become. In this video, we'll uncover what most miss when they quote this scripture. We'll break down the real meaning behind renewing your mind and how it was never about thinking positive or pretending problems away. There's something deeper and far more transformative. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals. And today you're going to see why this one verse has changed prisoners into preachers, doubters into disciples, and worriers into warriors. We'll walk through why the mind is the battleground, how the world subtly molds your thinking without you even realizing it, and the simple yet forgotten path to break that grip. You'll learn the ancient Jewish context Paul was speaking from, the reason he chose the word transform over changed, and how renewing your mind is the only way to truly discover God's will, not just read about it. If you're tired of surface-level answers and want deep, lasting transformation, this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is Dr. Myles Reveals, where truth meets transformation. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the truth you'll find here won't just inform you, it'll transform you. Most people rush past powerful words, but this verse, it demands we slow down. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. Pause there. Paul starts with a warning, a call to resist. He's not speaking softly, he's sounding an alarm. There is a pattern shaping every mind. Culture, media, voices around you, even your silent thoughts. Paul says break free. Don't let the world press you into its mold. Because it's subtle, it feels normal, but it's dangerous. The world teaches fear, selfishness, comparison. That's the pattern. That's what you're up against. Next, but be transformed. Now the shift begins. Paul isn't just telling us what to run from, he tells us what to run toward. He doesn't say try harder, he says be transformed. That word transform is the same Greek root used when Jesus was transfigured, his divine glory revealed on the mountain. This is not surface change. This is deep, soul-level metamorphosis, a divine work, not self-help, God-help. And how does it happen? By the renewing of your mind. There it is, the secret. Transformation doesn't start in the hands or feet. It starts in the mind. The way you think, the way you interpret the world, the beliefs you carry in silence. The mind is the entry point for God's transformation. This is where heaven begins its work on earth, in you. You can't keep thinking the same and expect to live differently. Paul's words cut through illusions. This is not behavior modification, it's spiritual renovation. And the mind is where the blueprint begins. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals, and this is just the beginning of what Romans 12:2 truly unlocks. Every day, whether we notice it or not, our minds are under pressure, quiet pressure, constant shaping, voices from every direction, social media, music, influencers, opinions, fear-driven news cycles. They don't just entertain us, they form us. Paul knew it long before smartphones. That's why he warned, the world has a pattern. And if we're not alert, we'll conform to it without even knowing. You scroll, you listen, you absorb, and without realizing it, your thoughts begin to shift. You begin to crave what culture tells you to want. You begin to measure your value by followers, status, and image. Slowly, quietly, the world paints its values on the canvas of your mind. This is why renewal is not optional. It's critical, because our default thinking is already broken, twisted by pride, pulled by fear, driven by self. The world teaches us to survive, but God calls us to be transformed. Look around. Anxiety is rising. Comparison is normal. Truth feels like opinion. Conviction is mocked. These aren't just cultural trends. They are spiritual signs. They reveal how far our minds can drift when we follow the pattern of this world. Paul doesn't blame the world for being the world. He calls us to be different, to renew, to think differently, to challenge the scripts running silently in our heads. Here's the truth. We think wrong. We choose wrong. Until something shifts inside, we'll keep repeating the same cycles outside. Mind renewal isn't just a spiritual phrase. It's survival. It's the key to clarity, peace, purpose. When your mind is ruled by noise, truth becomes a whisper. But when it's renewed, truth becomes a roar. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals, And we're peeling back the layers of Romans 12 to uncover what most never dare to explore. Changing your mind isn't the same as renewing it. One is temporary, the other is eternal. We change our minds every day. What to wear, what to eat, what to post. But renewal, that's something deeper, something sacred. It's not about swapping bad habits for good ones. It's not behavior first, it's belief first. When Paul said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, he wasn't talking about self-improvement. He was talking about soul reconstruction, not self-polishing, but spirit-powered rewiring. God doesn't just want to adjust your thoughts. He wants to rebuild the entire framework of how you think. This kind of renewal is the opposite of shallow motivation. You won't find it in a to-do list or a new morning routine. It's not about how early you wake up or how clean your planner looks. It's about who's shaping your thinking at the root. It's about what controls your inner narrative when no one's watching. Renewal happens when truth starts to replace lies. When Scripture speaks louder than insecurity. When God's voice overrides shame. It's when your thoughts start to align with heaven, not by force but by faith. The heart and the mind are more connected than we realize. What you dwell on, you eventually desire. What you believe, you begin to build. That's why mind renewal doesn't stay in your head. It spills into your life. Your choices change. Your reactions soften. Your love grows deeper. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're thinking differently. This is why Paul didn't call for performance. He called for transformation. A change so real, it shifts the entire direction of your life. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals, and the journey through Romans 12 is not about tweaking who you are. It's about discovering who you were always meant to be. Transformation doesn't happen by accident. It takes tools, divine tools, and the first is the Word. The Bible isn't just a religious book. It's living power. It corrects, convicts, and renews. Daily reading isn't just routine. It's resistance. Every time you open those pages, you push back against the noise of the world. You're not just reading words. The Word is reading you. Meditation goes even deeper. Not emptying your mind, but filling it. Sitting with a single verse. Letting it echo. Letting it challenge. Letting it sink. The world rushes. God whispers. And it's in the quiet that renewal begins. Then there's prayer. Not performance. Not polished words. Real prayer. Honest, raw conversation with God. You speak. You cry. You listen. Renewal happens when your soul finally gets still enough to hear. You don't need fancy words, just open ones. Sometimes transformation doesn't come in answers, but in presence. And when you pray, you enter it. But don't try to do it alone. God designed transformation to happen in community. You need people who speak life, not just agree with your pain. Friends who challenge your comfort, not coddle your excuses. Iron sharpens iron. That's not soft. That's sacred. Surround yourself with those who carry the same hunger for truth, and your mind will begin to shift naturally. These tools aren't magic. They're discipline. They won't always feel exciting, but they will always bear fruit. The Word trains your thoughts. Prayer softens your heart. Community strengthens your steps. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals, and when you use the tools God gave you, you're not just learning, you're changing. One thought at a time, one day at a time. This is how transformation starts. Not loud, but real. Not fast, but lasting. Not every thought that enters your mind belongs there. Some are lies dressed as logic. Others are wounds that sound like wisdom. But Paul said, take every thought captive. That means your thoughts are not in control. You are. With God's help, you have the power to grab hold of every idea that tries to take root. Examine it and ask, is this truth or is this a trap? Renewal starts when you stop letting thoughts roam free. Thoughts of fear, shame, insecurity, failure, they don't just appear. They're built from old voices, old pain, old patterns. And if you don't take them captive, they'll take you captive. They'll run your emotions, steal your peace, sabotage your decisions. But here's the power. Lies can't stand when truth enters the room. That's why Scripture isn't just for reading, it's for replacing. You don't fight a lie with silence, you fight it with the Word. Fear says you're alone. Truth says, God is with me. Shame says you'll never change. Truth says, I am a new creation. Anxiety says you won't make it. Truth says, God works all things for my good. The more you know the truth, the faster you recognize the lie. And the faster you recognize the lie, the less power it holds. You don't have to entertain every thought. You have the authority to evict it. This isn't just mental strength, it's spiritual warfare. And your greatest weapon isn't your willpower, it's the Word. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals, and when you start taking your thoughts captive, you stop letting the past write your future. You walk in clarity, you walk in truth, and you walk free. Transformation doesn't happen in a moment. It happens moment by moment. Renewal isn't a switch you flip once and forget. It's a rhythm, a practice, a choice you make again and again, especially when it's hard. Paul didn't write to people who needed one-time inspiration. He wrote to believers living in a world full of pressure, distractions, and temptation, just like us. That's why his words still hit today. The renewing of your mind is a process, a daily surrender, a daily reset. Some mornings it's easy, other days it's a battle. But here's the truth, your thoughts won't fix themselves. If you don't renew them, the world will reshape them. If you don't plant truth, lies will grow by default. This is why you can't ghost. You can't assume yesterday's peace will carry you through today's storm. Every morning, every moment, that's the rhythm. It happens when you wake up and reach for the Word before your phone. When you pause during the chaos and whisper a prayer instead of reacting. When you choose forgiveness instead of offense. When you fill your mind with truth even when you don't feel strong. That's renewal. Not loud, not flashy, but faithful. God doesn't expect perfection. He invites consistency. He knows your mind is a battlefield, and He's given you everything you need to win, but you have to show up. You have to return to Him again and again.
This is the kind of work no one sees but heaven rewards. Quiet obedience, small choices, eternal impact. I'm Dr. Myles Reveals, and if you're waiting for a big breakthrough, maybe God is waiting for a small yes. Because true mind renewal isn't about what happens once, it's about what you choose daily. Pause right here. Before the next thought rushes in, take a breath. Now ask yourself, what's one thought you need to renew today? Maybe it's a fear that keeps cycling through your mind. Maybe it's shame, or doubt, or a lie you've believed for far too long. Name it, face it, and now replace it. Write it down. Type it in the comments. Let this verse, Romans 12:2, not just pass through your ears, but take root in your mind. When you speak it, you start to own it. And when you share it, you invite others into that same transformation. This is where it begins. One verse, one truth, one renewed mind. If this video helped you see something differently, gave you clarity, or sparked something inside, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next. This is Dr. Myles Reveals, and we're just getting started.